Hi, everybody. This is Jordan King with Flyway Focus. We haven't released a ton of long-form content on Flyway Focus yet, but I'd like to do more of that here in the future. As many of you know, I wasn't able to attend and cover the state wrestling tournament because of a family emergency. I did, however, want to make sure that I highlighted all three wrestlers from the Flyway that finished on the podium down in Madison, all three of them coming from Lomira seniors Marshall Hanke and Marek Lisiecki, as well as sophomore Jordan Lisiecki. This week, over their spring break, we sat down, had a conversation about the season, Lomira wrestling, and the future of these three tremendous grapplers. Here are those conversations with all three, as well as Coach Adam Kinyon, in the first ever Flyway Focus podcast. All right, here with the trio of wrestlers that podiumed down at state tournament here in 2024-2025, a successful wrestling season for Lomira overall. And you guys obviously were the three leaders of this team, and we'll get talking to all of you. Start here with Jordan. Jordan, sophomore year, couple of trips to state under your belt, a couple of conference championships under your belt, and man, that we'll talk about the whole experience in the postseason, but that semifinal match, I mean, that was one where I guess as you look back at it, take me through that last little bit, because it looked like in overtime, looked like you were headed to the finals there, and then a good scramble by both you guys, and you end up coming up on the short end of that. But I would guess still pretty proud of the sophomore season you were able to put together, right?
Yeah, in that match, I was just grateful to be in that position and seeing how early in the season on the water I got majored 13-3. So I was shocked that I even made it that far against them, and I mean I really thought I had them, but that's just how it goes. I just gotta that happen, and then afterwards just gotta move on to the next one, get the third place, which obviously I couldn't get that one, but we still got 2 more years left.
Just talk about the experience down there, though. I mean, you're starting to become a little bit of a seasoned veteran, and I got to imagine a couple of years, as you mentioned, a couple of years left. That experience is only going to be valuable for you.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I enjoyed every second, and seeing how I only have 2 more years left, I mean, I'm going to give it everything I had. These first 2 years have been fun, but now it's just go time, I guess.
Conference, last year you took care of business at 106. You move up to 113. You knew Alexson from Campbellsport, a guy who's a tremendous wrestler, a tough kid, and you moved up there and take care of business there this year, go undefeated in the conference season. And you guys shared the conference title, finally got that dual win over Campbellsport. Just talk about the team season overall, and as a team qualified for sectionals as well.
Yeah, the team started off pretty good. I mean, the Dells trip was all right. I mean, we were losing a lot of guys, but then we just bounced back, and then towards the end of the season we got hot, especially at regionals, and then that Campbellsport duel was nice. So we didn't get down from any losses. We just kept our head high and just kept pushing forward. You
guys wrestle a brutal schedule every year, and Coach puts that together for a reason, obviously. And your home tournament here with Arrowhead, who ends up in the Division I Team State Championship, and a lot of quality opponents that you guys get to see throughout the year. What's that do for you guys when you get into the postseason and you're going to face really good competition every time out? Yeah, it's great. I mean, these beginners and guys who have wrestled a year or two, it's good for them to just know that if they can put up a fight against these guys, I mean, the rest of the season is just going to be a lot easier, a lot better, and it's just a learning point at that first duel. So just get better from there, What was what's your favorite? You have a favorite match from this season that you look back and you say, yeah, you circle that one and you say that was the high point of the year for me, in terms of a win or a moment that really stuck out for you. Yeah, I mean, even though it wasn't a win, probably my third place match on the water, I wrestled the Division I state champ from last year, who also won this year. And I only lost 10-3, so it was a decision against him, and I put up a really good fight, and I was just very shocked at how well I put up a performance. When you face competition like that, I guess how much confidence does it give you, right? You go toe to toe with arguably the best wrestler in the state at that weight class, arguably, right? And I guess what do you take away from that? I mean, I know that I'm just at that level now, and I'm halfway done, so there's just a lot more that I can put in, and
it's just a good like point, like a checkpoint to just see where I'm at that point and to keep moving forward.
A couple of seniors sitting here with you, and I know they've been good leaders, good representatives of this program. As this program says goodbye to them, how important is it, and what role do you see yourself in terms of leadership headed into the future in the off season, putting in the work and trying to get other guys to do the same to keep Lomira wrestling where it should be?
Yeah, it's great to have these guys like in my corner the last 2 years. I mean, I've been going to practice with them like in the off season, over the summer, and it's just fun to just like know that they're always with me, and then they're always gonna be with me. Just see them going in, at least Marshall going into college wrestling, and then just I know that they're always just gonna be with me, and then I can always use their knowledge to the younger high school wrestlers.
There's a lot of a lot of tradition here at Lomira, wrestling tradition, and a lot of that tradition ends up coming back. Just I guess talk about the coaching staff that's been put into place, led by Coach Kinyon, and obviously, his resume speaks for itself when he was here at Lomira, and now coming back and kind of helping the next generation.
Yeah, it's awesome to know that these guys are just coming back to help their childhood school, and then they know that they always want their youth wrestlers and their high school wrestlers to always just like get to that next level, do better than they did. And it's just great to know that this program just always helps out each other.
Last one for you: as you head into the off season, what are you saying to yourself? You say, "All right, Jordan, if I'm gonna take the next step, here's what I gotta get better at. Here's what I gotta improve on." What is that in the off season that you're saying? If I do this, maybe I'm not wrestling in a third place match. Maybe I'm wrestling for a state title next year.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm not over with it, and I'm not doing baseball this year, so I'm just focusing all my time to wrestling. And as long as I just keep on putting in that work, going to these tournaments over the off season, I just know that as I'm wrestling the best of the best, I'm just gonna keep getting better, and I know that I can definitely win next year.
Fourth place finish for sophomore Jordan Lisiecki. Jordan, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll continue on here with senior Marshall Hanke. And Marshall, I guess we'll start with, Wrestler of the Year in the Flyway Conference. This is a conference that I think a lot of times outside looking in, people just, it's Lomira and Campbell Sport. But this year, Amro had, 6, 7, 8 really good wrestlers in their lineup. Laconia sent a couple of kids down to state. There's a lot of good wrestlers in this conference. It's not just you guys in Campbell Sport, although you guys are good headliners. But what's it mean to you to be the Wrestler of the Year in the Flyway?
It means a lot. It's always super competitive. Trying to get that spot, even just winning conference as a team, is always super competitive. In the next year, I can see 4 big contenders all going for it, but we haven't got Wrestler of the Year since 2016, so it means a lot to get it this year.
Yeah, obviously there were you're sitting next to a couple of guys that could have had claims for Wrestler of the Year as well. What's it say about this program that you guys got so many guys that are, a lot of people would be the best wrestler on pretty much any other program, and for you guys, you're always kind of battling it out to be the best wrestler in this program, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're always scrapping in the wrestling room, always trying to work, trying to get better. It means a lot because we're always growing together.
When you guys, watching you guys at tournaments and, getting ready for the next round and at conference or regionals or sectionals, seems like this team has a lot of fun off the mat, and you guys are a close bunch. Just tell me about that and kind of the camaraderie that exists in this group.
I know us three, we kind of grew up together, but we always try to include everyone. After tournaments, we would go places, mess around. A little times before tournaments, we would even mess around. So it's just trying to have as much fun as possible.
Don't say that too loud. Well, you guys are out from Coach Kinyon. You can say that as loud as you want. No. Wartburg Wrestling for you next. Tell me about that.
I'm super excited to be going to Wartburg. This year they just won D3 National, so I'm pretty excited to go there and trying to compete with them.
Talk about the recruitment process. Give us a little peek behind the curtain of what that was like for you and why you ended up obviously the success of the program, but I'm sure there were other things that went into choosing Wartburg.
We actually went down to Kansas for a tournament, and on the way back, we decided we would stop and look at some colleges, and when we saw Wartburg, and I wanted to go meet their coaches, and when I meet them, Coach Keller, the head coach, he was just super electric. He's so energetic. It made me really want to be there.
All right, so you win your conference, win the conference, undefeated conference season, head into the postseason, and lo and behold, you got to wrestle the same guy 3 times, and then always hard to beat a guy, 3 times, and I'll say it so you don't have to. He was underseeded at state, and obviously a really good wrestler, a quality wrestler, and someone who's got a bright future in this sport, it would seem. But again, kind of comes down to just 1 or 2 little things. How do you bounce back, right? Like after that, it'd be kind of easy to just kind of throw in the towel and say, well, we didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. But you battle back through the wrestlebacks and get back on the podium, finish 5th. How big was the response in terms of how you saw it?
It was pretty devastating to lose that match, especially by 1 point. But, I mean, I knew it was in the past. I knew I couldn't do anything to change it, and I had to just keep looking forward. I could be, sad about it later when I got home. So, in the moment, I tried just my best to forget about it and keep wrestling.
Over as you look at your career, I guess what was the biggest leap that you feel like you made? Right, you think back to earlier in your career, and then how you finished here. Where'd you make the biggest strides?
Definitely in the off season. I would say, freshman to sophomore year, I had the biggest gap. I went from 25 wins to 40 wins. So I think just that's when I really decided I want to get good at the sport. So I quit every other sport to wrestle year round, and I think that made me get a lot better.
You guys spend a lot of time at AWA and wrestling outside of school. Seems like if you want to be really good at this sport, that's the commitment level it takes. For someone who maybe, if someone's listening to this and maybe they're not familiar with wrestling, just talk about. I mean, to the casual fan, well, 6 minutes is 6 minutes, but when you're out on the mat, it feels a little different than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just have to keep going. You can't acknowledge if you're tired or anything like that. You just have to keep a good headspace and keep going.
Talk about what it means to wrestle for Lomira, right? Be a Lomira Lions wrestler. This is a culture that hasn't really seemed to change over, 30, 35 years now, where it's just been kind of consistent, high-quality wrestling. And I know Coach Kinyon expects this team to win conference titles and go to team state like they did back when he was on the team. I guess what's it mean, right, to be a Lomira Lion wrestler and be at the top as you guys so often are?
It means a lot. I mean, in our practice room, you look around the room and you see conference championships from 1970s and going people making state from way back then too. So I think it means a lot to uphold that tradition of being a dominant team.
Obviously, at that Campbell Sport duel, you brought back a lot of alumni and the youth program as well. When you see all of that tradition come kind of piling back and former state champions and things like that, it's got to be kind of cool, right, to say I'm part of that program.
Yeah, looking around the room, when you're there, looking around and seeing everyone who's been a part of the program and the youth guys who will be a part of the program, it feels cool. And in 5 years, I'll probably be standing with the alumni too.
That Campbell Sport duel, we got to at least hit on that once here. That was kind of the one unchecked box for this group, right? Mm-hmm. Is to knock these guys off in a duel and get that done. You shared the conference the last couple of years. You guys won the tournament, but there's something special about beating your rival in a duel and obviously ending the duel streak that you guys were able to end. Talk about that night.
Tried for 3 years and couldn't get it done, so it felt good that senior year we finally were able to get it done as a team. Felt pretty cool.
if you could send a message to the current wrestling team and the wrestlers that are going to be part of this program, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them for either the rest of their high school wrestling careers or for grade schoolers or middle schoolers for their upcoming high school careers? What would you say in terms of, if you want to be successful, you want to be the next Marshall Hanke, what do you got to do?
You gotta put in work like nobody else. You gotta always keep your head up, always keep working hard.
Last one for you. Just tell me about these 4 years, what it's meant to you and what this program's meant to you in your high school wrestling career as it comes to a close and you open up the college wrestling chapter. What has this meant to you?
I'm pretty grateful to be a part of this program. Everything it's done for me. Yeah.
Appreciate it, Marshall. Excellent season. Finish 5th at state this year and Wrestler of the Year in the Flyway Conference. Congrats on a great year.
Thank you.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Marek Lisiecki. And Marek, podium finish at the state tournament. We'll start there. You finished 4th and, ran into one of the best wrestlers in the state, regardless of division. I mean, in the semifinals there. And I got to imagine a fun experience down at state, and I know every wrestler's goal is obviously you want to win it, right? But the podium seems to be a goal for a lot of wrestlers that they never attain, and you're able to get that done this year. Tell me about the state tournament as a whole, and kind of bouncing. Same question. I know that 3rd and 4th place match didn't go your way, but still the response after meeting a really good wrestler in the semifinal.
Yeah, state is a whole different breed of wrestlers, especially last year. The whole goal was just to make it on the podium, and I didn't really even think that was possible, but I ended up doing it last year. So this year I was really looking for that top spot, top 3, top 4. But, wrestling the best of the best really tells you a lot about how far we've come as wrestlers, because over the last 3-4 years we've grown so much that we can actually compete with these guys now. And especially, even though my 3rd place match didn't go that well and didn't go like the way I wanted it to, I definitely learned from it, and it was kind of just a whole experience of just being there in general. Just made me feel a lot better. So,
when you go to state, I guess tell me about the experience, because it's just to go down there and wrestle there, and go down as a program and as a team, and go down there with some teammates. That's got to be special. And just tell me the memories that you hold from getting to go wrestle at the Kohl Center and be part of the state tournament.
Yeah, I mean, this season especially, all I was thinking about was the Kohl Center. And, when you're down there on the floor, it looks a lot smaller than it does up at the 3rd floor. So, when you're on that floor, you just realize it's just you and the mat, and, everything that you can give in that 6 minutes, you're going to go out and give it. So it's a lot different than just going there as a team and not actually competing, because you're actually, you're the one that they're wanting to watch, and you're actually going to be down there while everyone else is cheering you on.
How cool is it to share that experience? I mean, obviously with a brother, but also with teammates, where you guys can, obviously you're focused on you, but you're also kind of pulling for your teammates and hoping that they can achieve similar things.
Yeah, when we're in that tunnel warming up before our match, and I see Marshall's name up on the board, and I'm cheering for him, even though I'm trying to lock in. It's interesting because while I'm trying to get ready and stuff, I still have that thought in the back of my mind, like, oh, how's Marshall doing? And I wish that we were a little bit spread out in weight so I could actually watch him, but on that board it's still like, hey, there's Marshall, and I'm up soon, and we're gonna have 3 back-to-back Lomira wrestlers basically on the floor, so it's kind of cool to just see, like, especially in our own conference, here's Lomira.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, wrestling is such a unique sport in that, yes, it's a team sport, but you do have that individual aspect to it. I talk about that, how unique that is, right? That you got to go take care of what you got to do, and I know the dual season's different than in the postseason, but you got to go take care of what you got to take care of, but you're also helping the team.
Yeah, definitely. Wrestling is often thought about as kind of like an individual sport where, whatever you can do, that's really how you're gonna win it is, only you. But it's the team and everyone who's like put in work. That's all riding on you as well. So, when you're out there, especially in a duel match or something, like you want to win not just for yourself but for your team. And then in the off season when you're getting better, you're not just getting better for yourself, you're also getting better for your team. So yeah, it's just the team aspect just carries the whole wrestling experience.
You guys were talking about duels there. I'm going to ask you about that Campbell Sport duel as well, because man, that's been something that ever since Campbell Sport's come back into the conference, I got to imagine that's on every Lomira wrestling fan's checklist. Hey, we gotta take down the Highway 67 rivals, and you guys were able to do it special night this year, right?
Yeah, Campbell Sport dual meet was definitely the highlight of the year for a lot of people, and especially for our dual meets, that was just electric in there. Trying to really set the bar high for the youth wrestlers coming up now, and I don't know, it was interesting because last year, we were at Campbell Sport, so it was a lot different. The stands were packed, and I think a lot of Lomira people even showed up at Campbell Sport last year, a lot more than Campbell Sport showed up for Lomira this year. So I just think our team just pulls a lot of spectators, especially from our own fan base, that they just want us to win and they want to watch us. And it's kind of cool having that fan base, especially for, a smaller D3 school.
What was your goal in terms of being a leader for this team? I know you and Marshall were a couple of the leaders for this program. What was your mindset? What was your goal in terms of, hey, this is my last go-around. Here's what I expect out of my teammates. Here's how we're going to work hard and get this thing done. What was your goal as a leader?
First of all, like inclusion. So we wanted to include a lot of the younger wrestlers and the juniors and the sophomores because, I feel like in past years, the seniors didn't really do that good of a job of including everybody and everything and trying to like get to know them better. And so, first of all, like we're just trying to play games with them and kind of just get to like know them and, make them feel at home in the wrestling room. And, that's a big part of like why we win, I think, is because we have that connection with our team. And, another thing is just like working that hard in the wrestling room. We can tell when people are getting tired or when they don't want to wrestle anymore, but, we're trying to push them and keep them going through this program and really just trying to keep them interested because it's a lot different when you're in the wrestling room by yourself and you're only working for yourself than if you're working for the team.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked before. What's it mean to be a Lomira Lion wrestler?
Yeah, it means a lot. Looking in that room, looking at all the board, the people who've won state, the people who've won conference, it's really great to be a part of this team and leave a legacy behind like everyone else. When I was like a sophomore or a freshman, I didn't really think too much of it, but now growing up, I'm realizing that my name's going to be up on a lot of those boards and it's going to be in the room forever. So it's nice to leave a legacy behind for especially some of the youth wrestlers and some of the younger high school wrestlers as well.
Maybe we should ask him to step out of the room here. No, but Coach Kinyon came back, and as I mentioned before, his personal resume speaks for itself. He's another one of those names that you see scattered all over the wall, I'm sure, in the wrestling room. What's he brought back to this program since he's come back? And you don't often see a lot of coaches have so much success right out the gate. I know this is a program that has a lot of tradition and is well established, but even still, to do what he's done is pretty impressive. Talk about what he has kind of meant to your growth and development and where you see this program headed under him.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a coach who actually went to our school and can actually like connect with us and talk to us about what he did and how he got there and stuff. And he knows like he's not the greatest coach of all time, but that act of trying to like connect with the higher up wrestlers like Marshall, Jordan, and I, and trying to ask us, hey, what can I implement into practice? How can I make these other kids look up to you and look better on the mat? That means a lot to us as captains because we have a coach that can actually connect with the better wrestlers and actually try to like implement some of that stuff into practice. So it's really just nice having a coach that can listen to his own wrestlers.
That's awesome. What's next for you? I didn't ask. Are you trying to wrestle at the next level? What's next for for Marek?
Before this year, I was kind of unsure. But, as it got closer to the end of the season, I kind of got more set on I'm just going to leave it on at high school. I'm not really going to carry on the wrestling experience to college. But I think I'm definitely going to pick up, like, MMA or something, some type of combat sport in college and beyond that. So, yeah.
Do you have a college picked out yet or still undecided? What's the college plan?
Yeah, I'm going to Whitewater with Colin Weber. So.
Okay, very good. All right, well, we'll look forward sometime down the line. Daniel Cormier will be calling a Marek Lisiecki UFC fight. Awesome. As you look back on these 4 years with this program and everything you accomplished personally and as a team, I guess, it's probably an unfair question. It's hard to kind of put this stuff into words, right? But how do you encapsulate that and as you kind of think back on that?
Yeah, just like thinking back on the whole year and my whole journey in wrestling has been, I still can't really believe it's done finally, but, I'm going to have to move on, obviously. It's kind of hard to adjust back to, like, normal life because for 4 years now I've been wrestling, like, nonstop. And especially after sophomore year, I was wrestling year-round almost five times a week. So it's kind of weird not having to wrestle anymore, but just thinking back, wrestling has been such a great part of my life, and I'm just so glad that I wrestled in the first place.
Still be able to come back on breaks and kick everyone's butt in the wrestling room here, though, right?
No. Oh, yeah.
All right, Marek, appreciate it. Congrats on an excellent year. Finished fourth once again on the podium. Phenomenal career for both you and Marshall, and best of luck to everything in the future.
Thank you.
All right, we'll finish up here with Coach Adam Kinyon. Coach, talked to you a couple of times, plenty throughout the year. I remember back in the home duel tournament, and Arrowhead's here, and Burlington's here, and you guys always bring in high quality competition. And I just remember talking after that, and you said, our goal is not to necessarily always win these duels. Would it be great to win them? Sure. But the goal is to get better over the course of the season. You look back on the regular season, you guys are conference champs. You finally get that dual win over Campbell Sport that no other team's been able to do in this conference. I guess, how do you encapsulate that this year? And we'll get to talking about these podium finishers a little bit later, but just encapsulate the year for us.
Oh, well, like you said earlier, I try to plan a tough schedule. You don't get better by wrestling opponents that aren't as good as you are. Will that come with some losses? Yes. Will it come with some dual meet losses? Yes. But I think that in wrestling especially, the most growth comes from adversity. We wrestle Arrowhead not necessarily to beat them, but to kind of show us that we're not the best and there's a lot of room for improvement. Like you said, they made the finals in D1 Team State. They're no slouch. But I think having that adversity early on, especially as a team, between there and then the next week at the Dells Duels, that really helps us focus practices on and build towards what's more important later in the season, like beating Campbell Sport.
Is between those and on the water, these guys faced guys early in the year that they ended up facing later on, and they either beat them or they were able to wrestle with them. What does that say about your group? That these seems like very rarely for you guys as the season goes on, they get stronger against guys that are also getting better, but your guys get better seems like at a higher clip. What's that say about what you guys are doing in the room in terms of getting better?
Well, I always try to emphasize in the room that we have to learn from our mistakes. Again, wrestling, the better competition, you make more mistakes. It gives you more areas to improve on, but the thing is, you got to think about that. You got to think about how to do better against those guys next time. You have to study the film. And like you said, just specifically on the water to state, Jordan definitely did that. Jordan, we talked about it after that match with Spearings at On the Water. reattacks. Spearing's is so good at reattacks, and Jordan wrestled a completely different match at state than he did it on the water. And in our room, we focus on what we're good at. You really only need 5 moves to win a wrestling match. You need 2 takedowns, an escape, a turn, and reversal. So we focus on the moves that we're good at, especially second half of the season, just so everyone in the room keeps improving. And I think we see at state that's what matters at state.
These 3 behind me that we just talked to, it was pretty clear early on, and I know from past seasons. Obviously, this was my first year covering wrestling, kind of full go here. But you guys knew that these 3 would kind of be the leaders of this team this year, and obviously the goal was get to state podium, and hopefully even do a little bit better than that. And all 3 of these guys were able to do it. All 3 of them, kind of wire to wire, were just excellent. They're in just about every match. And what's that say about them? What have they meant to the program as leaders?
These 3 just work so hard. It's crazy. They're doing Askren 5, 6, 7 times a week in the off season. They're doing some outside of our own practices in season, getting some private lessons in, working on some stuff that we can't touch on in our practices because it's too high level, just to keep themselves getting better. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot from them. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of mental strength. And all 3 of them, like you said, wire to wire, I could send all 3 of them out there and trust that they were going to win that match.
Yeah, we talked after various duels, and I think you said about all 3 of them, you said, well, I just knew that Marek Lisiecki doesn't lose matches like this. Or Jordan Lisiecki against Campbellsport, we talked about it. You said Jordan doesn't lose matches. Against Amro, Jordan wrestled up at 120. Jordan doesn't lose match, right? You said it about Marshall as well. I guess that obviously the luxury as a coach to be able to send them out there and know that they're going to give it everything they got. If they need 6, they're going to go get 6. But I guess that desire and the hunger to kind of be great is unique. That's not something everyone has. And I guess to have multiple guys on a team that have that attitude has got to be pretty special to coach.
It really is. It really helps when I can point anyone else in the room to these 3 and say, these guys are successful because this, and this. They work hard, their attitude, their mental state, just all of their extra training encompassed into or leads up to them being as successful as they are. This is the blueprint. If you follow it, you will be just like them. Having 3 at once is really special and something I'm going to remember and cherish for a long time.
When you talk about down at state and the unique, you had the opportunity obviously to wrestle down there, and I guess when you think back to when you were out on that mat and now getting to be in the corner for these guys, I guess just how special is that, and what was, I know these guys are kind of vets as it were down at state, but I guess what's kind of your message to wrestlers that qualify for state and get that opportunity to go wrestle at the Cole Center and be part of something that a lot of people consider to be really, really special?
This is a tough one because you have to cherish the moment. But you also have to set high goals and then dumb it down to it's you versus another wrestler on a mat. You can't let the environment get into you. You can't be looking at the stands during your match. It is you against one other wrestler on the mat. These three did it really well. I did it pretty well, but there are a lot of wrestlers that get down to state and the lights are too bright. So you gotta have that mentality that getting to state is not good enough. Being in the cool atmosphere is not good enough. I have to win, and I have to keep wrestling at my best. You gotta be in the right mental space.
If we could just go down the line here with all three of these guys, and I know it's a collection of things. You mentioned all sorts of things, but if you could go through and say, we can start with Marshall, and what if you can narrow it down to one thing, what makes Marshall so great? As he mentioned, the strides to come from where he was as a freshman to being the wrestler of the year in the Flyway Conference. What made him the wrestler that he was?
I think, again, speaking for all three of them, I think the biggest thing behind it all is they have found a way to have fun with wrestling. They love wrestling. And that love is the reason that they're training 6 or 7 days a week. That love is the reason why they're working on their mental game. It's the reason that they're doing the extra practices outside of our own practices in season. You don't do that unless you absolutely love the sport. And we can talk about the hard work. We can as its own entity. But again, none of that comes if you don't love it. And these three absolutely love it, and that is why they have fun with it. Like you were joking before, you don't want them to say too loud when I'm in the room that they're having fun. But no, I want them to have fun, as much fun as possible. We start most practices with a game. The end of the year, I wish we would have done this sooner, but we started bringing spike ball to meets and playing that to stay loose before meets. I just try to make the sport fun and trying to get everyone in the mindset of wrestling is fun because this, and this. So then I want to be better at it,
Yeah. I should have asked. I wish I'd have known that. I should have asked these guys, who's the best. Was there ever a Masters spike ball tournament here? Did we figure out who's the best here? Oh, it's Marshall. Oh, Marshall. Okay, Marshall and Jordan were the winning. Well, that's not a fair combination. But anyways.
Yeah. So actually at team sectionals, between duels, I had them go over to Oostburg and challenge Oostburg to some spike ball games.
Okay.
And I'll say we won the varsity spike ball game. Marshall and Marek, I think it was, against Rigo and Liam. Yeah, we won the varsity spike ball game that night.
And that was when you guys knew team sectionals at that point didn't really, right? You already won the spike. No, hey, spike ball. Hey, I'm all for that. I love that. Marek said we're going to see him in the UFC. Well, he didn't say that, but Marshall, Marek, couple of guys that kind of hard to. Again, an unfair question because it's kind of hard to figure out how to put this into words, but fingerprints are all over this program as they say goodbye and, whatever is in the future for both of them, but and for Marshall, wrestling at the next level at a high level. I guess your best attempt maybe to say what they've meant to this program.
Oh, man. They're two of the best examples of Lomira wrestling that I could ever ask for. Again, to have them both in the same 4 years, to graduate at the same time, it's awesome and really tough at the same time. But it's special. You don't always get one of those, that type of guy, much less 2 at the same time, and then count Jordan as the third especially. It's something that, again, the rest of the guys in the room can look up to and, again, see what they've done over their time and use that to also get up to their level.
And then, talking about Jordan, kind of his role now for this team, it seems like, is to be one of the leaders and moving forward. And I guess what are you looking for from him in the offseason and moving into next year is, I think a lot of people will say, oh, man, Lomira, look at what they lost last year. They, a couple of 45, 50-win wrestlers, what's next, But this is still Lomira wrestling, and you got some good guys here that were able to learn from the excellent leadership that your seniors provided. How, I guess what are you looking for from him in terms of that next step?
Yeah, so even this year already, Jordan definitely started to show some leadership, lots of growth since last year, lots of maturity. He's definitely ready to fill Marshall and Marek's shoes. And again, I know he's been pushing the rest of the team to get to Askren, get to off-season stuff. I know we got a few more going this year than last year, so that'll be great. And then another thing for him is I know he's pretty tight with the group that will be freshmen this coming year. And we actually got a good 8th grade class coming up. And I think he's really going to help them transition into high school wrestling, and get to be the best of their ability as well.
As Aaron Rodgers once said, we don't rebuild, we reload. Sounds like the case for Lomira wrestling. Last one for you. I'm going to ask you, because I asked all of them, what's it mean to be a Lomira Lion wrestler? You're the head of the program. I guess we got to hear it from you.
It's an honor, honestly. Again, coming from this program myself, having success in this program myself, and then now coming full circle back to assistant coach a few years, and then now to head coach. It's nothing better, nothing I'd rather be doing. There's a lot of hard days, a lot of hours that go into it, a lot of planning, a lot of background stuff that no one sees, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Everything that it teaches these kids, the experience it gives them, trying to foster the team aspect of the sport, and that's something I really push on too, because that's what when I was wrestling here, that's what Coach Meyer pushed more than anything else, and you see it year after year here. We don't wrestle for ourselves. We wrestle for the team, like Marek was talking about before, and that I firmly believe is how to give these kids the best experience possible. And it means the world to me that I get to be the one to make that happen.
Coach, congrats on an awesome year. 3 podium finishers down at state. Got to be pretty proud of that. Appreciate, on a personal note, all the help you've given me and sending stats and all that good stuff, and letting me know when people were about to win their 100th and 150th matches and things like that. So appreciate that, and congrats on an awesome year.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. It was an impressive year for the Flyway overall, but particularly for Lomira. Want to thank Coach Kinyon as well as the guys for being willing to sit down, take some time, and chat about the season. Hopefully in the near future we'll have more opportunities to do things like this around the Flyway and go further in depth with some of these student athletes. That's it for now. Jordan King saying thanks for listening so long on Flyway Focus.